Do we have any motions out of executive session?
Yeah, Ms. Snipes, I make a motion to approve these, I know, yeah, sorry. The selected employment items as exhibited, in Exhibit A. All right, let me redo that. I make a motion to approve selected employment items in Exhibit A.
Y'all quiet tonight.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? And the motion carries 6-0. Do you have any other motions from executive session?
Yeah.
I have a motion.
You said you do?
Scratch that.
Okay, go ahead.
I move that the board give the chair authority to sign an amendment to the superintendent's contract as follows. Revise paragraph 4, letter D, to read, on or before October 1st, 2022, and each year thereafter, the contract is in effect. The district shall make an annual contribution to an annuity plan of the superintendent's choosing in an amount of 10% of the superintendent's annual salary as provided for in paragraph 3, salary. Need a second.
Okay.
Just one at a time.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? All right, and the motion carries 4-2.
Ms. Snipes, I move that the board give the chair authority to sign an amendment to the superintendent's contract as follows. Revise the second sentence of paragraph 10, letter D, to read, in the event of such termination, the superintendent shall not be entitled to appear before the board. However, the district shall pay the superintendent, upon execution of a complete release satisfactory to the board, severance pay the equivalent of 18 months' salary as provided for in paragraph 3, salary.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? The motion carries 4-2. All right. Okay. That takes us to number 13 on our action agenda. Dr. Harris. Do we have a motion as Dr. Harris comes before us?
A motion to approve the appointment of Lexington County First Steps Board Member for School District 5 of Lexington and Richland Counties as displayed in Exhibit F.
Second.
Do we have any questions for Dr. Harris? All those in favor? All opposed? The motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Dr. Harris.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. McCaskill looks different tonight.
The Director of Elementary Education will be Dr. Michael Giuliano to bring forth. We're going to handle 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. He'll stand for any questions for those second readings.
You want to go ahead and make a motion?
Okay. Do I need to read each one of those separately or
It's up to you. You want to handle one at a
No,
time?
go ahead and read them together.
just call out the numbers?
I think you have to read the whole thing. I think you have to read the whole thing.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the second and final reading of the proposed revisions to Board Policy IHAA, English Reading, Writing, Language Arts Education, Exhibit G. The second and final reading of proposed revisions to Board Policy IHCA, Summer School, Exhibit H. Second and final reading of proposed revisions to Board Policy IKE, Promotion and Retention of Students, Exhibit I. Second and final reading of proposed revisions to Board Policy ILBB, State Program Assessments, Exhibit J. And second and final reading of proposed revisions to Board Policy IKF, Graduation Requirements, Exhibit K.
Second.
Do you have any questions? All in favor? Oh, you have a question?
Just clarification, we're voting on all of those in one, just because they're, okay.
Yep, since they're looped together, yep. All right, if there are no questions, all in favor? All opposed? The motion passes 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Juliana.
All right, Ms. Tucker?
I make a motion to approve the district's realtor listing for 24-25 as shown in Exhibit L.
Second.
Do we have any questions for Mrs. Tucker? All in favor? All opposed? All right, Ms. Tucker? Oh, we still got you. All right, sorry. Well, that'll move
Madam
us.
Chair, I make
Yep.
a motion to approve the fund balance assignment for Construction Management Group as shown in Exhibit M.
I need a
Second.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
that we use the $2 million, instead of using it for construction management group, that we use it for a one-time teacher bonus, considering that that was originally the intent for capital improvement, or using it for staff. If we possibly needed it for additional construction management for the bond, I propose that we should have increased the bond referendum request.
I second.
I'm not even sure what to do here. Do we have any additional discussion? Mr. Satterfield?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. One is it wise to use one-time money for reoccurring expenses, teachers' raises? And the second question is Dr. Ross, do you think that I know that that money was put aside for some possible capital projects. Will you think that the remaining $1.5 million would be enough to address those needs? I know we have a lot of needs within the district. And a second question, you get two questions at once here. I know that one of the board members requested or asked why not use the existing referendum money for that expense.
I'll take the last question first and then work backwards. We'll be very clear to the public of why, what we were budgeting each of the items on. There's no line item in the budget or in the referendum for construction management. This is the work that we're using to get this done. We'll be working on 4 campuses all at one time. Those principals on those campuses will have students, staff, parents visiting while we have construction groups. Those principals would need someone to help them manage the operations as construction moves on those campuses. The board has approved the $3.5 million for capital reasons. So to reassign it is going against a board vote that this would be set aside for capital. And so we already made the vote. The conditions of that vote were that we would bring back to you what we wanted to spend that 3.5 on. We still have land acquisitions and things of that nature. Now, we do have a look-back period of those bonds that we could, if it comes down to it, and in the future we would like an opportunity to kind of pull this back, we could do that. But I think it's prudent, if we wanted to use that to give bonuses, to do that after we get the bidding and look-back period done. To do it before cancels our options. So that's my thought, is just, we use it, the bids come back lower, we have the opportunity to do look back and give this money back. But if we don't do that now, and those bids are higher for some reason, we jeopardize completing the projects.
Thank you.
Miss- Hold on, Ms. Tucker, do you have a comment on the same?
I was just going to agree with Dr. Ross. This was not listed as a bond referendum project, and we just want to be incredibly transparent about what we're spending our bond referendum funds on. And so this money was set aside. Like Dr. Ross said, we do have that look back. So when we issue the bonds in March, we'll have a 90-day look back where we can go back and recoup those funds to the general fund if necessary. But again, just thinking in terms of the bond referendum, that $240 million, that number came about 3 years ago, and we all know things have gone up. So we want to make sure we can get done all the projects in our bond referendum with the money that the voters gave us to do that with.
Ms. Tucker, thank you. I'd just like to get clarification, because these are always tricky conversations. If someone wants to, give money to teachers, if that doesn't pass, it's this, never want it to seem that that's not our intention, but I always want to make sure that we're giving the public kind of clear understanding on why we can't do certain things with certain funds at a certain time. So I appreciate that. Mr. Duffy, I know you have another question, but does anybody who hasn't asked the question yet first?
Is this the same fund balance that we've kind of been discussing for the past few months? Wasn't it originally kind of going to go to like portables, and then it was going to go to the roofs and the HVAC, and now we're moving it onto the capital management or construction management?
So, and you correct me if I'm wrong, we asked the board for $3.5 million in order for the 5-year construction plan. As you follow this money that has been asked for, again, we had to bring that back to you for approval. Once we had the opportunity to spend bond referendum money on, I'm sorry, not bond, but bond money, 8% money, that's what, maximize our 8% money to meet the facility needs, the HVAC needs, the roofing needs. We use that money for it. This money is, just want to make you a reminder of all of the discussions of property acquisition that we talk about in executive session. That's what this is locked up for. So if we take that out, the land acquisitions that we're trying to get, it comes out of this 3.5. So, so yes, we have to bring it for approval. We make recommendations on what it goes for, but if that is not what is needed at the time, it does not move forward. So I think we've never made we've held this in the event that we needed it. When we didn't need it, we would ask for permission for it to be used elsewhere.
So the HVAC problems and the roofs and all that have been taken care of?
Each one of those, forgive me, are you saying the ones that we passed the referendum to do?
Yes.
All right, so that, I just want to be clear, of the 11,137 incidents that were identified, the referendum that was passed will, in March, give us money to address those. We won't get that until March. You'll be very apprised of when those bids go out. The $15 million that we did for HVAC, roofing, and issues outside of the referendum, those are on the ground in terms of procurement right now. Mr. Knott, so you want to give an update of where we are on those?
Currently, the issuance that we received in the fall, we're in the process of going through and getting the quotes to getting those units replaced.
And Ms. Barnhart, I was going to say, just with the assigned fund balance, you mentioned the portables. So when the board approves the budget every year, there's always our fund balance, and typically we set aside some in essentially assigned fund balance. So this 3.5 was set aside, but there was also 1.5 set aside for portables that we came back to the board and said we didn't need the portables this year, so we're moving forward with those band instruments and the security purchases. So that is already in the pipeline. So that 1.5 million is being spent on what the board reassigned that money for, since we had set it aside for portables and didn't need it, and we're able to use that for security and then for band and orchestra instruments. So.
Thank you. All right. Oh, okay. Mr. Harris.
Dr. Ross, can you explain why there's some urgency with this?
Yes, I think the sense of urgency is I think 2 years ago, put this money out of the, basically, general fund into capital. And for us, I think every moment that we delay, we risk missing, as Ms. Tucker said, our estimates were 2 years ago. And prices are doing nothing but increasing. What I worry about is the $240 million, that's an estimate. There are no receipts, there are no bids in yet. And so I'd rather be in a position where we're using the funds in capital to address our needs than to not use them and wish that we had. So I think it's important to keep it in capital, but provide those sites when we start to build on those. And you'll see tonight with GMC that will be here to present. I want you to see how integral these projects will be at Chapin Elementary, Lake Murray Elementary, the Rich Lakes facility. Those principals are going to need support as they move through. So I think it's super important that they have a construction management group that can work with them. I only have one island, and so we need to make sure that we can give them the supports, and that's why I think it's so important.
And also, just to echo what Dr. Ross was saying, these 4 projects that this construction management group would be assigned to are all related to the rezoning. So these projects need to move forward quickly in order for us to hit that target of essentially moving 5th graders back into Lake Murray and Chapin, and to have those facilities ready to go to be able to do the rezoning with the next school year. So that's why these 4 projects were the first ones identified for the construction management group, so we can move forward, because there is only one Alan, and he's very busy.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker.
Thank you,
So
Ms.
we
Tucker.
have 2 motions currently on the table. I'm going to start with Mr. Bainham's amended motion. All those in favor?
It was just to use the $2 million from the fund balance for a one-time teacher's bonus versus using it for a construction management company.
All those in favor? All opposed? And the motion fails 4-2. Back to the original motion that was on the table. All those in favor of Mr. Scully's motion? All opposed? And the motion passes 4-2. Thank you, Ms. Tucker.